Hi everyone, I'm here today with Caroline from EBM Insurance. She's come all the way from Sydney? Melbourne. Why did I think Sydney?
Melbourne girl.
Melbourne girl. So all the way from Melbourne to visit us in Little Launceston. She's touring around the state a little bit over the next couple of days and meeting with some real estate agents to talk about all things landlord insurance. So I thought this is a great opportunity for us to get together and share some information with our clients about, I guess, the benefits of landlord insurance in general, but also some of the key points of difference with EBM. I know that Caroline needs to do the formalities, so I'm going to hand it over to her to do the boring stuff first.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Michelle. And it's lovely to be here today and to visit you. EBM Rent Cover and At Home Property Management Solutions, we do work in partnership, so it's excellent to have this discussion today. So as Michelle just mentioned, I'll just quickly go through some quick disclosures. So it's just to let you know that all information today is general in nature, so it doesn't take your own personal and financial situation into account. So we just urge all owners to do your own research and have a look at our product disclosure statement, PDS, to make sure that our product suits your needs.
Thank you so much. And I have been given a list of questions to ask, because we do have to be very careful about the general advice that we provide our clients, which is always an area I struggle with, as EBM know, because I like to be able to give as much information as possible to our clients to manage those risks associated with having a rental property. So it's very hard for me to bite my tongue, but I've now been given a brief on what I'm allowed to say. Of course, I will go off script, and you know this about me, Caroline.
But true. That's okay.
Please tell me when I've crossed a line. Just say, Michelle, you know you're not allowed to say that, and I'll zip it. But firstly, I guess one of the questions we do get sometimes from property owners is, look, why do I need landlord insurance when I have a property manager? It's up to you to manage my risks. And we still get that to this day. I thought that it was a bit of a dying brief, but it certainly is still a question that is being asked. So what are the benefits to having landlord insurance?
So that is a very good question and topic to explore. So us at EBM Rent Cover, we solely believe that landlord insurance is an important safety net for owners to have to face the many unique risks that can occur with owning an investment property. So our policy will look at responding to these risks, which include loss of rent, tenant hardship, which falls under loss of rent, your tenant damage, pet damage, drug labs, and liability. So many things can occur, and you can have excellent property managers in place, such as staff from your office, but then things can occur with excellent tenants. Someone might lose their job, there might be a relationship breakup, even death can occur. So many things can occur which we can't foresee, and that's where landlord insurance steps in to help minimise those risks for you.
That's a really good brief. And from a property manager's point of view, obviously I've been in the industry for almost 30 years, and I think of those 30 years I've been working with EBM for, it would have to be at least 20 of those years. So it has been a very long...
Before my time.
Before your time, way before your time. You're such a baby. But Sharon is probably the only person that's been around, the managing director, for all that time.
She has.
So, look, it is important for me to say that we don't have any financial incentive to be promoting EBM. I will disclose that they pay us a very generous $25, I think, per policy to cover the general administration of organising the insurance. If you organise it yourself, then we don't get that $25 bonus for setting up that policy. So there's hardly a kickback involved, and I wanted to make that clear because it's important that you don't think this is a big sell. That's not something that we do. We will only ever give information on products that we believe are valuable to our clients, so that's why we're talking to EBM today. So another question we get is, isn't the bond enough to cover? And this is a question you gave me, but I know the answer to that question because we deal with that on the daily. But I guess what's your response when you get that question from the general public?
So this can be a common query from owners. We've taken a bond, why do I also then need landlord insurance? So if we look at some quick stats, the average weekly rent in Australia, and this is Australia as a whole nationally, it's about $601 to be exact. Then if we look at the average bond across Australia, it's about 2,600. Now, our average claim that we saw last year at EBM Rent Cover in 2023, our average payout was 8,800. So this is just really showing you that the bond is just not enough, and especially when it comes to those tenant-related risks. And this is also not taking into account, your huge losses that can occur. So there could be a fire and your entire property needs to be rebuilt up to the building sum insured. It could be $450,000, things like this. So there can be high loss situations as well. A drug lab tenant damage can go up to $70,000. So when we're looking at that average, it's not also looking at isolated situations, which can then also be a lot more.
Thank you so much. I am going to go off script, and I did warn Caroline that I would be bringing this up because it's so relevant to what we're currently dealing with in Tasmania, which is obviously the proposed bill for the mandatory approval of pets. And I have sent some information to our clients recently and talked to them about the benefits of looking at a product that does provide a level of pet damage cover, which if you do start doing your research, you'll find that's very limited in the market in terms of what policies will provide you with pet-related damage cover. So I will ask the question, and I know that you can't give advice and it has to be general, and the policy obviously wording can be provided. We can provide what's called a product disclosure, which gives all the information that you need and answers a lot of those questions. But Caroline will give us just a basic summary of what the pet-related damage cover is, and I guess what some of the benefits are, and also looking at some of the exclusions, I guess, that we need to be aware of as well. So if you wouldn't mind just giving a summary of that, Caroline.
Of course. So this will be a very important topic for owners going forward with the pet reform that is coming into play in Tasmania, seeing how that goes with how it is approved. But let's focus on the coverage side with EBM Rent Cover. So we provide cover up to $70,000 when it comes to pet damage, and that has a $400 excess and no sublimit. Now, many situations can occur with pets. If I just quickly touch on some claims that have come through, we've had ducted vents that have been chewed by a dog that was tied up under the house, and that was around $10,000 that we paid out. There's also been skirting board marks and floorboards, deep scratches from dogs as well. We had a big claim recently where there were many cats kept in a property, and that was not a good situation at all, but our policy stepped in and provided cover against these items, and it is important to highlight that our cover is up to $70,000. So this creates some great peace of mind for you as an owner. With the pet reform that's coming into play, you can rest assured that you will have cover there with pet damage under both of our policies, Rent Cover Ultra and Rent Cover Platinum.
Thank you so much. And I guess everyone is nervous about these reforms, and just to give a little bit of an update on that quickly, because that's not why we're here, but the government are currently in consultation. So the pleasing news is that they didn't go ahead and push the bill as it existed, because we know that was very one-sided. So currently the government are in consultation with stakeholders, and we're hoping that includes the REIT. We believe that it does include the REIT. I am in touch with politicians and asking for updates to ensure that we can keep our clients up to speed with that. But I guess what Caroline's saying is that there is a level of protection, aside from what we will be doing proactively as property managers, and there are a lot of, we can be educating tenants around the risks for them in terms of them deciding to have a pet in a property and what those associated costs will be to them if there is damage caused to the property, because ultimately the landlord insurance is there to protect you as the client. It's not there to protect the tenant. So we will make them aware of that, and that EBM are very likely to pursue the tenant for that loss. So it's not like your cover is going to release them from their obligation to be paying for the damages caused to the property. So as property managers, that's what our part and what we'll be doing to protect you as our client. And of course, EBM will be responding to protect you. But unless the tenant is acknowledging that it is their responsibility, then they can be obviously financially disadvantaged hugely by having a pet inside the property that could potentially cause thousands of dollars worth of damage. And we've had cases recently where that's been the case. So look, I can't stress enough that please make sure that you take the opportunity to review. Again, we can't give you advice. Review your insurance and look at whether or not you have some cover in relation to pets, because you don't know what might change too with policies down the track. If, for example, EBM may decide later on to change and not offer that product within, who knows, we don't know, but it is available now. And once you have the policy, am I right in saying that can't be changed?
Correct. You'll have that cover automatically as part of Ultra and Platinum.
Fantastic. So I think definitely now is the time to be doing that, and I know Caroline would be happy to have questions filtered her way for any clients that would like to know a little bit more about that. Just in relation to premiums, and I know this is something that our clients are struggling with, everything increasing in costs. We know that, all insurances have increased in terms of premiums. How competitive are EBM? And I know that from my own experience when we do comparatives, they're all pretty much of a muchness, but some offer a much more comprehensive product. So you've got to be comparing apples with apples, right?
Definitely. I couldn't have said it better at the end there. So landlord insurance, the premiums can differ from provider to provider. At EBM Rent Cover, our landlord insurance has always been typically about your average weekly rent. So at the moment, as I just mentioned before, the average weekly rent around Australia is $601. Our premium in Tasmania, or our average premium for all of our products, is about $400. And then it's even less within Tasmania.
It's just reduced actually, hasn't it?
Yes.
The Ultra policy, which is just the landlord protection, not to be confused with building and landlord. So this is just the add-on for the landlord insurance. And just to explain that to clients, Caroline probably would explain it better to me. There are two products. One includes building and the other is a standalone product which adds to your building. Is that right?
Correct. So Rent Cover Ultra is just your landlord and contents, and that's the premium I was just mentioning there, which is about the average amount of your weekly rent. And it is less at the moment than that. If you are also needing building insurance for a freestanding house or a townhouse, we can also add on building under Rent Cover Platinum, and we can provide a quote for that policy. And the quote and the premium will vary dependent on factors of your building. So the building sum insured you nominate, construction type, year built, and so on.
Great, that answers that question. I was going to touch on excesses, but I think we're probably going to run out of time. And from what I've seen, the excesses again are very reasonable. And one thing that I will point out, I think I'm allowed because it's on the brochure, is that there is no excess on loss of rent, which obviously is a pretty large part of the policy, and probably the most commonly claimed, I would say, would be loss of rent. There's a zero excess that applies to loss of rent, and then I think it varies depending on what sort of type of claim that you're making. We've had a lot of successful claims with EBM over the years, again, why we have a relationship there. So how hard is it, I guess, to make a claim? I know our clients benefit from the fact that we do all of that work, and I can say, without Caroline saying anything, that it takes us a quarter of the time to go through a claim process with EBM versus other products, because we're having to jump through so many hoops. What's sort of your average turnaround for a claim?
And that's really good to hear, because our whole business model, we pride ourselves on our claim structure, and we actually did win a claims award in 2022 at the Mansfield Claims Award. So our claims team, thank you, our claims team took that out, and it was well deserved for all of their hard efforts. But we really try to get all of our claims settled as quickly as we can. So if we have all information, some claims we can settle within 5 to 10 business days. If you do need an assessor or things like that, it can go a bit longer, but a simple loss of rent claim, we have all the information, it can be really quick, and you'll also be nominated one claim specialist for the entire duration of the claim. And another great perk is, as having your property manager, they can actually lodge the claim on your behalf, which Michelle just mentioned, and we have a claims portal. Owners can also use our claims portal too to lodge a claim, but you do have those options there.
I know that our clients love the benefit of us going through that process, because regardless of who you're dealing with, when it comes to insurance, you obviously have to provide a lot of information, a lot of evidence to support your claim. And so there's no point in just having landlord insurance if you don't have the right information behind the scenes to support your claim, such as a detailed entry condition report, such as regular routine inspections demonstrating that you have mitigated loss. And I know that there are situations where insurance companies simply can't respond because there hasn't been a mitigation of loss, and that might be that there's been no follow-up on rent arrears for 6 months. And so many times I get private landlords coming in and saying, oh, I made a mistake, I put this tenant in the property, and because I'm really nice, I've let them get 6 months behind in their rent. And they're the reasons why, of course, you have a property manager. And if you have the combination of both a great property manager and a great landlord insurance, then you really are doing everything you can to mitigate the risk of having a rental property. We know there's so many benefits to having a rental property, but we all want to make sure we're managing the risk. So I really want to thank Caroline. We have gone a bit over time, but hopefully we provide a good overview of the product and also the benefits of having landlord insurance. So thank you so much, Caroline, for chatting with me today. I know that I did go off script, so I apologise for that.
No, thank you so much for having me along, Michelle.
Thank you.